Hello and welcome back. In this episode, we will take a look at enhancements to Python in SAS Intelligent Decisioning and a whole bunch of updates to SAS Studio. So let's get right into it. We are starting things off here inside of SAS Intelligent Decisioning, where a new property has been added to our different content types, where we can then set the Python version for each. Now, let's say we go into this decision here, then we can switch to the properties pane, and there you will now see a new property called Python version. This will enable you to set a specific Python version that you have tested this code with. This is especially important if you orchestrate a lot of different Python content across a whole bunch of different assets. So that if you go to validate things, there will be a note and a warning for you if there is a mismatch between the Python versions. Now, of course, you can go ahead and overwrite that, but it's very important to keep in mind that not every Python version is aligned with each other. There is new features being introduced all of the time. There's features being deprecated. And of course, if it's being tested for different Python version, that might also imply different packages and package versions that are available in each Python runtime. So this is a great way to help you communicate in a more standardized way which Python version is being used by which asset. And if you are building with Python within this environment, I would urge you to always make explicit use of this feature to help others understand what your requirements are. So really awesome communication and transparency feature here. Now, let's switch over to SAS Studio, where we have a whole flurry of new and awesome features for every type of user of SAS Studio. We're going to start things off with the big one, compare data. This is a step that a lot of people love from Enterprise Guide, for example, and have been using for a whole bunch of time. Now, comparing data is, of course, one of those things that if you have to do it, it's always like, oh, how do I best compare my data sets? How do I find misaligned values? How do I do regression testing, for example, between different versions of my ETL flows? So this is where comparing data can come really helpful. And if we pull this up, we can see we can either do a comparison between two data sets or even within a single data set. We can do it on all columns or only on a specific subset of columns to compare. We can also be more explicit about the comparison criteria here, also how you handle missing values within that. And then you can also specify which type of information is actually useful to you as an output. I left everything on default essentially, and let's just go in and look at the results here. We get two output data sets, but first let's slowly scroll through the result pieces where we get general information about our two data sets. Then we get a summary on all the mismatches and potential matches between our data set. Here we can see there is none that are exactly equal. Then there is some observation with some observations being unequal, but most of them are fully unequal in here. And we can also dive deeper into the different kind of values that are different and how they differ here and get an understanding of what's going on. Now, with two data sets that are this drastically different, of course, this gets harder to read, but you can imagine, especially if you only have like a handful of data misalignments in your code here, you can quickly go in and then understand the base comparison and diff of all your different observations. This becomes even easier if you have specific ID values that help you identify the right row within your data set quickly. So really awesome and helpful step here to use. Now, let's switch over to a feature that is awesome for developers, especially developers working within large contexts of code. So imagine a long and arduous SAS macro code or just combining a whole bunch of different things. And where this comes in helpful is if you produce warnings and errors within the code. So if I submit this code right here, I will of course get my error message on the right hand side. I can also see where that occurred, but it doesn't necessarily reference the line number within my code editor specifically. With the small code snippet, that isn't a big issue, but you can imagine larger codes where this becomes a problem here. And what we can now do is we can go to our profile picture, go to settings, and then go to editors. And here we can enable the display errors and warnings in code option. Gonna hit close. And now let's rerun this. And now the specific error we had gets highlighted within our code, and I can hover over it to also see the specific error message. And if I had more errors here, I could then also page between them to kind of get an understanding, where does this error actually come from? Is this a continuous error, or are they not connected here? So I can really build up. So let's fix our first error here by adding the S and rerun our code. Now our error went away. Whoops, added the snippet. Let's rerun this. SAS help.cars, removed it completely. And now we see our error message, right? Recursively referenced in the target table. I might be fine with that or not, depending on my use case. But now I can more easily move through my code and specifically fix the error messages and warnings as they come up within that code. So to me, really helpful features. And the last feature I want to highlight in this release is within tables in SAS Studio. You can now go to columns, click on the three little dots, and you can filter the column from here. Now, of course, you could already enter an expression up above here, but this really is cool to me because you can easily select the operator here. Let's say we do something like BMW. We hit apply. We have an OR filter, so let's BMW or Audi. And I don't need the quotes. And now I can also see that filter here, that it's being filtered from that screenshot directly, right? And I can go back in, filter columns, adjust my filter as I see fit. So really awesome and helpful feature for me. Now let's take a look at the awesome community articles that have been contributed over the last month. The first I want to highlight is Kubernetes auto-scaling for SAS compute workloads might just be a click away. This article highlights how you can easily scale up and scale down again the resources that are consumed by compute. This is really helpful if you have some on-demand and high throughput jobs that only get spun up for a certain amount of time. So here is how you can control this using the workload orchestrator within SAS Environment Manager. Next is the _action parameter for the SAS job execution web application and how you can handle all the different values that you can put to it. If you are developing with SAS job execution, I highly recommend you check this out because I'm sure you will learn something along the lines within this article. And the final one is best practices of if-then-else logic and agentic AI in SAS intelligent decisioning. We more and more see how introducing hard business constraints into your agents is a real value lift for organizations to build trust and enable more consistency across runs. So a really helpful article to dive into this. And I'm gonna close it with a new custom step that has been contributed this month called VA Export Report. This continues the new topic of SAS visual analytics steps that are being contributed, and this one enables you to export a SAS visual analytics report as a report package, so the zip files that come out of it, and you can easily schedule that then to occur every week, every month, or every day as your data is being updated to rebuild for example, a public-facing website or an internal-facing website that is completely disconnected from SAS Visual Analytics itself. So really cool and awesome step. I hope these updates were as great for you as they were for me. I think especially the developer enhancements are a great boon to me and help me increase my productivity. So see you next month. Bye bye.